Beneath the surface of every ocean on Earth, something ancient moves through the dark water. It has been here for over 450 million years, long before the dinosaurs walked the land, long before the first forests grew, long before the continents took the shapes we recognize today. It survived 5 mass extinction events that wiped out nearly everything else on this planet. And yet, right now, in the 21st century, this creature faces a threat unlike anything it has ever encountered before. Not an asteroid, not a volcanic winter, not a shifting of the seas. The threat is us. The creature is the shark. And the story of what it means to be a shark today is one of the most heartbreaking, misunderstood, and urgent stories in the natural world. We have spent decades fearing them. Movies painted them as monsters. Headlines screamed their name every summer. Children refused to swim in swimming pools because of them, even though no shark has ever, in the history of the world, lived in a chlorinated pool. We built an entire mythology around their danger, their hunger, their cold, dead eyes. But here is the truth that the ocean has been trying to tell us for centuries. It is not dangerous to be near a shark. It is dangerous to be a shark. Every single day, the animal we fear the most is fighting for its survival in a world that has decided it does not deserve to exist. This is the story of that fight. This is the story of why it genuinely, profoundly, and tragically sucks to be a shark. A shark's life is hard from the very first moment it exists. Depending on the species, a shark either hatches from an egg case or is born live after a pregnancy that can last anywhere from 5 months to nearly 2 full years. The great white shark carries its young for approximately 11 months. The spiny dogfish shark holds the record at nearly 24 months, making it one of the longest pregnancies of any vertebrate on Earth. After all of that waiting, after all of that time developing in the dark, a baby shark enters the ocean completely alone. There is no parental care, no mother waiting to protect her young, no pod, no family unit, no guidance. A newborn shark must immediately begin hunting, navigating, and surviving entirely on its own instincts. And the ocean is not gentle with beginners. Larger sharks, including sometimes members of their own species, will eat them. Orcas hunt them. Humans catch them in nets before they ever have a chance to grow. The juvenile mortality rate for many shark species is staggering. Most young sharks never reach adulthood. They are born into a world that is already stacked against them, carrying millions of years of evolutionary perfection in their bodies, and still the odds are brutal. For species like the great white, reaching sexual maturity takes between 15 and 17 years. 17 years of surviving before a shark can even reproduce for the first time. And then, after all of that, they may only produce a small number of pups every 2 to 3 years. Compare that to a fish like the ocean sunfish, which can release 300 million eggs in a single spawning event. Sharks are slow reproducers in a world that is taking them faster than they can replace themselves. The mathematics of their survival are devastating. Every year, between 70 million and 100 million sharks are killed by humans. Let that number settle for a moment. 100 million. That is more than the entire population of Germany, gone from the ocean every single year. And the primary driver of this slaughter is something most people in the Western world have never tasted and may never have heard of until recently. Shark fin soup. In parts of East Asia, shark fin soup has historically been a luxury dish, a symbol of wealth and status served at weddings and business banquets. The fin itself has almost no flavor. It provides a gelatinous texture, nothing more. The taste comes entirely from the broth it is cooked in. But the cultural prestige attached to it has created a global industry built entirely on suffering. The practice used to harvest fins is called finning. A shark is caught, hauled onto a boat, and while still alive, its fins are sliced off. The body, still breathing, still alive, is then thrown back into the ocean. Without its fins, the shark cannot swim. It sinks to the bottom and dies slowly, either from suffocation, blood loss, or being eaten alive by other animals. It is one of the most brutal practices in modern fishing, and it happens millions of times every year across every major ocean on the planet. Finning has been banned in many countries, but enforcement is nearly impossible across international waters. Fins are dried, traded, and shipped across borders with minimal oversight. The black market for shark fins is worth billions of dollars annually, and the sharks pay the price with their lives, their fins, and their futures. Even sharks that are never specifically targeted by fishermen are dying in enormous numbers. The culprit is bycatch, one of the most quietly catastrophic forces in ocean ecology. Bycatch refers to any marine animal caught unintentionally during commercial fishing operations. When massive nets are dragged through the ocean to catch tuna, swordfish, or shrimp, they do not discriminate. Sharks swim into those nets and they do not come out alive. It is estimated that tens of millions of sharks die as bycatch every single year. Longline fishing, which involves deploying lines stretching sometimes 100 kilometers with thousands of baited hooks, is particularly devastating for sharks. These lines are set for target species, but sharks, drawn by the scent of bait, take the hooks and drown before the lines are retrieved. Oceanic white-tip sharks, once described by the legendary Jacques Cousteau as the most dangerous shark in the open ocean, have declined by more than 98% in the Gulf of Mexico alone, due largely to longline bycatch. 98%. A species that once dominated the open ocean, reduced to a ghost of its former presence within a single human lifetime. The tragedy of bycatch is that it is largely invisible. There are no dramatic images of it, no viral videos, just millions of animals dying quietly in the dark water, tangled in gear that was never meant for them, disappearing from ecosystems that desperately need them. Here is what most people do not understand about sharks. They are not just animals, they are architects. They are the structural engineers of the ocean ecosystem, and without them, the entire system begins to collapse in ways that ultimately affect every living thing on this planet, including us. Sharks are apex predators, meaning they sit at the very top of the marine food chain. Their role is not simply to hunt, their role is to regulate. By preying on sick, weak, and slow-moving animals, sharks keep prey populations healthy and genetically strong. By controlling the populations of mid-level predators, they prevent any single species from dominating and destabilizing the ecosystem below them. Scientists call this a trophic cascade, and when you remove the apex predator from the equation, the cascade begins to fall apart in every direction. One of the most well-documented examples occurred along the eastern coast of North America, when overfishing of large sharks led to an explosion in the cow-nose ray population. Cow-nose rays eat scallops. With no sharks to control their numbers, the rays devastated scallop populations so severely that a century-old scallop fishing industry in North Carolina completely collapsed. The fishermen lost their livelihoods. The coastal economy suffered, all because the sharks were gone. In tropical reef systems, the removal of reef sharks leads to an overpopulation of herbivorous fish predators, which then allows algae to overtake coral reefs, smothering the coral and destroying the habitat that thousands of species depend on. The ocean without sharks is not a safer ocean, it is a dying one. Perhaps the cruelest irony in the shark's story is that the very fear humans have of them has become one of the most powerful weapons used against them. Every summer, when a shark attack makes the news, the response is predictable and devastating. Governments authorize culls. Beaches deploy drumlines, which are baited hooks designed to catch and kill large sharks near swimming areas. Social media erupts with calls to eliminate them. In 2014, the Western Australian government launched a controversial shark cull in response to a series of fatal attacks, killing hundreds of sharks including tiger sharks, great white sharks, and bull sharks, many of them caught far from any beach, far from any human. Scientists, conservationists, and marine biologists condemned the cull as scientifically unjustified and ecologically reckless. But the fear won. The sharks died. The statistical reality of shark attacks is almost absurdly at odds with the cultural terror surrounding them. Globally, there are approximately 80 unprovoked shark attacks per year. Of those, fewer than 10 are fatal. You are more likely to be killed by a vending machine, by a falling coconut, by a lightning strike, or by a dog than by a shark. And yet the fear persists, amplified by decades of cinema, sensational journalism, and cultural mythology that has never once stopped to ask what the shark's side of the story might be. There is still hope. It lives in the work of scientists who tag and track sharks across entire ocean basins, building data that governments cannot ignore. It lives in the growing network of marine protected areas where fishing is restricted and ecosystems are given space to recover. It lives in the shifting cultural attitudes toward shark fin soup, particularly among younger generations in China and other parts of Asia, where conservation campaigns have made real and measurable progress in reducing demand. It lives in the divers and underwater filmmakers who have spent their careers showing the world a different image of the shark, not a monster, but a creature of breathtaking grace, intelligence, and ecological necessity. Some shark populations, given even minimal protection, have shown remarkable resilience. Grey reef shark populations in protected areas of the Pacific have begun to recover. Nurse shark numbers in parts of the Atlantic are stabilizing. The ocean has not given up on them, and neither have the people who understand what losing them would truly mean. The shark has survived everything this planet has thrown at it for 450 million years. It survived the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It survived volcanic eruptions that darkened the sky for decades. It has adapted, endured, and persisted through catastrophes that reshaped the entire surface of the Earth. The one thing it cannot survive is our indifference. The one thing that can actually end 450 million years of survival is the decision to simply stop caring. The ocean is asking us to care. The sharks, in their silent and ancient way, are asking us to care. And the question that defines this moment in history is whether we will finally listen before the water goes quiet and the architects of the deep are gone forever.